We have an NHL team looking for a new GM, but is it too little too late? Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Pucked Up Podcast, episode 120. I am Chris, and joined with me is Danger, and I think Danger, if I might be wrong, but in the 120 episodes, I think this is the first time it's been you and me.
I think so. At least the first time in a long time.
Yeah, if not, like
it's been the first time ever.
It's been a while, if not.
Yeah.
Everybody else is busy because we all got lives. Shit be happening. But we are happy to be here with you tonight. And as always, we're going to start off with a trivia question. Danger. On March 11th, 1979, in a game between the LA Kings and the Philadelphia Flyers, Randy Holt set the NHL record for most penalty minutes in a single game. How many penalty minutes did he have? 57, 67, 75, or 48?
I wanted 69 to be one of the options.
I should have put 69 as an option. I think about that as an opportunity missed in my...
Shame on you.
I fucked up. That's on me.
Shame on you.
That's
fucked
on
up,
me.
Aaron.
I did. I'm going to take my bitch ass to Oshag Hennessy office.
You better. You better go to the principal's office.
As always, we will let you know at the end of the episode. Don't fucking Google it. I see you. Don't do it. We will absolutely know. Before or as we get things started, really the only big topic to talk about today is not the Montreal Canadiens, the other disappointing Canadian team. The Toronto Maple Leafs have fired general manager Brad Treliving. This happened on Monday. Of course, this happened as the episode of A Weekend Whistle went live. Brad Treliving was in his third season as general manager. He replaced current Pittsburgh Penguins GM Kyle Dubas in 2023. Danger, it's no secret that the Toronto Maple Leafs are ass this year. They've had a bit of a rough go the past 3 years. Do you think this was the right time to do this, or do you think this was too little too late?
For this season, it's for damn sure too little too late. And I almost feel like they either should have done it earlier or they should have waited till the season was over. Because I don't know what this is going to do to the team. But I also don't know how, beloved he was. Obviously, he wasn't there for a super long time. It's not like, if God forbid, please don't ever let this happen, but Bill Guerin got fired, who's been there for a long time and is beloved by the team.
But at this point with Guerin has put in enough effort to look at where the Wild are.
Oh, yeah. No, he's doing everything right. Like,
in my opinion, that's a cup contender this season.
Yeah.
To where Treliving, think about, what did we talk about last week? They're 42 goals less this season than they did last year. 27 of those were from Mitch Marner.
Which is insane.
And
it's tough because, Toronto's made the playoffs in what?
Almost the last
9 years.
Last 9 straight seasons, yeah.
Yeah. And obviously, most likely won't be making it this year. Although it's not confirmed yet. We're not there
they're not
yet.
Officially out, but they're 11 points out of a playoff spot right now. So, the writing is on the wall.
It's very unlikely that it's going to come around for them for this year. It's interesting because I know they don't have a first or second round pick in this year's draft. I don't know, what they're going to do with that.
Well, they have a first round pick this season. That they do have. The second round they don't have. But they do have an opportunity.
I think they gave up the first round. I think they gave up their first round pick.
I feel like they have I feel like
when
they have at least their first round.
they gave their conditional first round pick to the Bruins for Brandon Carlo.
Did they? Okay.
In March of last year, yeah. At least according to the article that I was reading.
Okay, so yeah, if that's the case, then that's a big fucking
and
miss.
Would only retain that pick this season if it falls in the top 5 selections. So I guess that's the conditions of the conditional pick.
If we go by TSN's mock draft, like I had mentioned last week on the episode,
right?
TSN's mock draft during the trade deadline had them winning the draft lottery rather. So
as long as it's not Chicago, like I'm fine with Toronto winning it.
I feel like at this point we're all over Chicago getting these top picks because they're wasting Connor Bedard.
We said it when when they first got the draft pick. We all agreed Chicago was going to ruin that kid. And now that, Daddy Nick Foligno is no longer in Chicago because he plays for us.
He looks good. He looks good in that green, though. I'm just going to say it. He looks good in that green.
He looks good. It is weird to see the end Foligno. I don't know yet because I know Marcus played in the last game. But I don't know if they also gave him the M Foligno or if they're just leaving his with Foligno. Typically, they put the M in front of it, when the brothers play on the same team. But Foligno's been on the Wild for so long that it also wouldn't surprise me.
It would make sense to keep it.
Yeah.
Here's my thing, right?
Yeah.
We have seen the best and the worst of this team in the last 3 years, right? Obviously, Kyle Dubas put together what we've seen. They thought it wasn't enough. He moved on to greener pastures. Obviously, it's working out for him in Pittsburgh right now.
Right. Yeah.
But
yeah, he's doing good.
This season alone, the lack of scoring output that we've seen from Austin Matthews and the production numbers that now are no longer there when it comes to Mitch Marner, who, let's be honest, Toronto fans ran him out of that city. That really doesn't have anything that no one else is to blame but Toronto fans at that point, because Toronto's a hard city to play hockey in. It is the equivalent to the Yankees in baseball. New York is a hard place for people to play, and some players thrive, some don't. Toronto is that similar spot in hockey. Obviously, I don't know if it's working out better in Vegas for Mitch Marner. We talked about
Probably
Vegas on the Weekend Whistle on Monday.
Yeah.
What a shit show that team is. But I feel like
I'm not going to get into that because
that's a whole fucking can of worms to open up.
All I can say for everybody, in my opinion of it, is in our Discord, when we announced it, all I posted was the gif of a rage room.
And then again, you know what? After this, I do want to get your opinion on the coaching firing, because you weren't on the Weekend Whistle, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. But I feel like the firing of Treliving is a line in the sand that has been drawn by ownership. I bet you Berube gets canned at the end of the season. I bet you the entire coaching staff gets removed. I'm willing to bet a couple big key players might get traded, because for Toronto, when you've been as good as you've been the last decade, this is unacceptable.
Well, like last season, they won the Atlantic with 108 points.
Yeah.
They went 52, 26, and 4.
They were great last year.
Went all the way to the end, and then they lost to fucking Florida. But they lost in 7 games.
Yeah.
In the second round, right? Like, they took it almost as far as they could. Well,
they took
it as far as they could in the second round.
What changed?
So you really can't. Yeah.
That's the question.
And it's really like they have, what? I gotta find where I notated it. Hold on. Like generational players, right? Like if you look at Austin Matthews, Nylander,
Tavares, Matthew Nyes.
Yeah. And
Dakota Joshua,
relatively strong in goaltending. like they have a lot of positives, a lot of people to kind of surround and build the team around, right? Is whoever they replace Treliving with going to be able to do that though? Obviously that's going to be, you know, his the replacement's biggest task.
Yeah. Do you think
But
the injuries to the goaltending this season has been a major factor? Because I mean,
oh yeah.
Stolars was out a lot. Joseph Wall started out the season with we don't know what, just a personal matter. Hildeby was kind of holding it together for a while. And then when Wall came back and when Stolars came back, they've been inconsistent all season. Like, do you think
Yeah.
that plays into just the mess that it's been this year?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because, when you lose your two main goaltenders for such a huge chunk of the season, I mean, a lot of teams fall apart, right? Like
Mhm.
goaltending is the backbone for a lot of teams. And rightfully so. But, and then they've lost Christopher Tanev, what, months ago, 3 months ago
Yeah.
for the season. Now they've lost Matthews for the season. Um, none of these things are helping their favor right now. And it's tough. It really is tough. Like, I wish we could have given him a little bit more time, but obviously he wasn't making decisions that meshed well with the players, or the players would be performing better, one would think. Not to say that like they're purposefully tanking the season. That's not what I'm saying. But
But
good leadership
sorry,
makes you want to play better.
do you think this was a desperate move by ownership considering the last 9, 10 years they've the majority of that only made it to the first round? Like, you're consistently putting yourself in a playoff position. Obviously, last year was probably their best playoff run that they've
Right.
had in the last decade, but
Yeah.
you're putting yourself constantly in the playoff picture and then you're falling apart. I feel like when it comes to that situation, Kyle Dubas set them up to, hey, we're here. Treliving just had to be like, okay, I have everything I need. Let me add to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They didn't even
And
sell
he
off a
couldn't.
lot in the trade deadline.
No.
They could have sold more
No.
than they did.
Right. Right. Yeah. It it's tough. It's just it, and it's a sucky situation for everybody, right? I'm glad to see, because all too often I think a lot of head coaches get blamed, when really it should be a GM that gets blamed for some bad
A lot
decisions,
of the times, yeah.
and vice versa, but you see a lot more coaching turnovers than GM turnover.
It's easier to fire
Um
a head coach than it is to fire a GM.
yeah,
That's just the
absolutely.
reality of it.
So I'm kind of glad, and I agree with, what you said before starting to record, that Ruby's probably out right after the
Oh, for
season, but at
sure.
least they're going to let him finish the season out.
I imagine.
They also have 6 assistant GMs.
Yeah,
Like, why?
that's
Is
a
that the
lot.
best
That's a lot.
use of
Are you just
funds and
training? Are you training
brain
fucking
power?
like
Right.
coaches? Are you waiting? Are the Toronto
And
Marlies this important to you? Like, yeah, there's a lot of
right,
things here.
right. And I know the Toronto Marlies guy is going to step up in the interim.
I did see that.
Ryan
Yes.
Hardy, and then assistant GM Brandon Pridham. I wouldn't be surprised though if they hire somebody completely from outside the organization. I love to see people promoted within an organization, especially when
Right.
they've been there a long time. But I don't know that that's what Toronto needs. I feel like they need to really just break it down and rebuild around they have some amazing players. They just need to utilize them in the best ways possible. And,
Correct.
obviously they're not this year. And outside of a couple of really unfortunate injuries this season, I really don't know what's changed up there from last year to this year. I mean, the fact that they had 108 points last season, and I don't know off the top of my head where they're sitting at for points.
77.
Ridiculous, right? That's a roughly 40 point difference.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Do you think Mitch Marner's departure was the factor?
Very well could be. I mean, we know that he's, was big in the locker room for the other players, somebody that a lot of people really leaned on when they needed to. And so, yeah, it very well could be that.
And I mean, you broke up that top line. You broke up the Nylander, Matthews, Marner line, and Marner and Matthews were like this.
Well, and they were tight. Been in Toronto his entire career,
his whole career. Yeah, and he was miserable the last season. And you know what? I get it. And I can see the writing on the wall. He was done.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't blame him.
And it's unfortunate. Yeah, no, it's unfortunate. I'm surprised Matthews hasn't asked for an out yet. To an extent, I think
I feel like
could be
at this point
highly.
Would you blame him if he did?
No, not at all. I mean, and Maul would kill me for saying that. Like, not saying I want to see Matthews go to a different team, but I want to see him utilized and appreciated for the player that he is. And I don't think that Toronto is doing that. Now, again, he's now out for the season, so, you can only do what you can do. But
right. Well, speaking of Maul, we're going to get his take right here.
So Toronto firing their general manager, Brad Treliving, is the craziest friggin' thing that I did not have on my bingo card this season. Number one, why is Craig Berube, if the team is failing, still a coach? He is the only coach in the NHL history that has survived being fired. This man has dodged more bullets than any other coach in NHL history. Like, think about it. His assistant coach was fired. Now the general manager is fired. Like, at what point are the Leafs going to get, like, the Maple Leafs organization going to get to a point where they realize that clearly Craig Berube just doesn't have what it takes to lead as a coach, when every other team will fire their coach before they even bat an eye at any other person in the leadership structure of the organization? And the thing is, with Treliving, we've had some major issues because of him. I know you guys talked about it, but Mitch Marner, he literally couldn't come to terms to re-sign one of the top forwards in the NHL right now, Mitch Marner, who went to the Vegas Golden Knights, who's doing good. And guess what? The Vegas Golden Knights, I mean, thankfully, because they're playing the point system, are in the playoffs, but being in the playoffs is still better than not being in the playoffs, which the Leafs are not going to make it for the first time in 9 years. This would have been their 10th season in a row making playoffs, which is unbelievably wild. Now, when we traded Mitch Marner, we got Nicholas Roy, who was pretty much all we acquired in that trade, who was then traded to Colorado Avalanche in March. So we gave up Mitch Marner for literally nothing. That killed anything the team had going for them this year. Anything. I think Treliving being fired is an incredibly great thing for the organization. Just came out of left field. Like, I was shocked as hell when I found out about it, and obviously that's why I shared it with you guys, like, as soon as I found out about it. But I ask, like, at what point is Berube going to be fired? He has to be next. And I'm going to put the prediction out there right now that I really honestly feel that if when the Toronto Maple Leafs get their X and get eliminated from the playoffs this year, because it's coming, he wholeheartedly will be fired shortly after. The Leafs need to make a huge administrative change to the organization. They need work on the defense. They need work on the offense. They need work definitely in the goal, since Stoli, you're a good pick, buddy. You did really good for the Leafs last year, but you missed half the season this year. There's so much wrong with the Leafs organization that I truly think, and I hope, that this is a good step in the right direction to get us back to where we need to be. I think it's crazy that this potentially could be a season where we lose the assistant coach, the general manager, and the head coach all in one season. So next year is going to be pretty much brand new staff. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments down below.
I do know too, Toronto's already had at least 7 people say, hey, bring. Interested.
There are 31 teams, Danger, that would be interested in adding Austin Matthews.
No. But I'm saying, like, there have been at least 7 people that have said, hey, no, I'm interested in the GM role.
Oh, in the GM role. Yeah. Well, I mean,
yeah.
It's that's your biggest market in the NHL, right? You think about, again, I hate to make the comparison. Obviously, as a Yankees fan, I could think about, they are the Yankees of the league. That is your biggest market in the NHL. It's Toronto, it's Montreal. Those are your biggest markets in the NHL for obvious reasons. That's a hard role.
I disagree, but I'm also from the state of hockey, so
that is a fair disagreement. I will accept your disagreement and understand where you're coming from.
Not be correct, but that's my personal opinion.
It's a big role. You've had 2 big names over the last 5 years in that role. Obviously, we all shit on Kyle Dubas last year, but the joke's on everyone else because the Penguins are sitting second in the fucking Metro. So, here's a bigger question.
Okay.
Do you think Brad Treliving finds another job by next season?
Really good question. And I think it's going to take longer than... I think he could be a replacement for somebody mid-season next season if somebody were to get fired. I think he'd be high on the list for an interim GM, or, not saying that would be a permanent gig, but...
Think about teams that are bad. Canucks, Flames, the Rangers. They're all teams that are struggling, that are probably going to want to make some front office moves. I don't think I think where you're at is probably the best bet. I don't know if he's going to immediately find something by next season.
I don't think it'll be like over the summer. I think it'll take longer than that.
Probably by the new year. Maybe that's a fair shout.
Because about, in my brain, I was like halfway through the season, that's kind of when we see a lot of GM moves.
If a team is dog shit, for sure.
Off time. Yeah. If it's not in the off season, it's, about halfway through when they're like, all right, everybody's out. Like, we're cleaning house. Yeah. I'm really intrigued to see what the Toronto fans think and feel. So if you are a Toronto fan, sound off in the comments. Let us know, your opinion on the firing of Treliving and kind of what you think, or even, what your opinions of him were in his 3 seasons with the team. 3 seasons, 4 seasons, whatever it was.
3 seasons.
3, yeah, that's what I thought.
Well, speaking of firings, this is a topic that was discussed on the Weekend Whistle, but Danger, because it is you and I'd love to hear your opinions. It was announced over the weekend that the Vegas Golden Knights, who are 3rd in the Pacific Division, fired Coach Bruce Cassidy to hire Coach John Tortorella for the remainder of the season and the playoffs. Danger, please, because I saw your GIF that you reacted to in the Discord server. I want to hear what your thoughts are on this.
Also, shout out to Unasanas, because that's what that GIF was from.
That was pretty great.
Ethan and Markiplier. and the most lackluster throwing of a bottle and just rage across
Yeah.
it. Why Vegas?
That's
Why?
literally
Why?
the question
Why?
that Maul and I asked. Why?
Why fire your coach? You're third in your division. Why? And if there's something we don't know about and it was like hey, he's going to be arrested tomorrow. We don't want him as our head coach. Why Tortorella?
Literally, out of all the coaches, you chose the guy that got fired last year by the Flyers.
Who is so absurdly aggressive in all of the press conferences with his teams, players, staff, and not in like the fun, like Dean Evanson way with the Wild, where like you had to wear a bulletproof vest because he'd punch you in your chest, you know, when he got excited.
Or Joel Quenneville, how he's been a little aggressive with the Ducks' young players. Look at what that team has done this season.
Yeah.
This is John
it's one
Tortorella.
Thing to have like a dad figure kind of chewing your ass as your head coach. But John Tortorella is a different beast entirely.
Yeah.
And I was really happy to not have to see his face and hear his voice for as long as we did. So why? Vegas, why? I know you say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but I really need to know the fucking train of thought.
Well, and we think about the massive drop-off in performance from last season, right? Vegas is underperforming.
Doing bad.
You're still like, third in the fucking Pacific.
Right. Like, you're not tanking the season. You're not the Maple Leafs, right? Like, you're still doing pretty good. And I just don't think that he's the right fit. And a lot of people really love John Tortorella. You're wrong. I hate to break it to you.
I respect what he has done as a coach, but also as a coach, he's not a good one when it comes to dealing with player morale. And like I had said on Monday, it's like we're 2 weeks away from playoffs. Your team is in a playoff spot. Oh, but we're going to make a total fucking coaching change? What?
But also, maybe Vegas, thank you. Maybe. From the Wild, thanks. Because that may just help us.
You would walk through them if they even made it that far.
Right.
Because if the playoffs started today, they would have to play Edmonton. You have to get through Edmonton. And then you'd have to get through the winner of Anaheim and Utah, which I'm still, after the Ducks losing to the fucking Maple Leafs in overtime last night, I'm not convinced the Ducks are going to be the fucking
We just lost to the Maple Leafs too.
Yeah.
Before all of this shit happened,
if you somehow get through either Utah or Anaheim, you got to play either Minnesota, Dallas, or Colorado. And you're going to get fucking dog walked. And it's not even going to be a game. So why are you making this drastic change for nothing?
It was a change that they didn't need to make at this point in their season. Again, which makes me, the conspiracy theorist in me then goes, what the fuck happened, like, in his personal life, behind the scenes? What don't we know? Because why? It makes no sense to me whatsoever.
They've never missed the playoffs under Bruce Cassidy. They won a Stanley Cup. In fact, Bruce Cassidy is in his 11 fucking season career as a head coach has missed the playoffs once.
Yeah. Right.
So you bring in a guy who in the last 4 seasons...
Did they win 2 Stanley Cups under him?
They won 1.
Just 1? Okay.
But,
I thought they won 2.
But they made... Well, because he was with the Bruins the season before. But
that's
it's like...
it was. Okay.
John Tortorella hasn't been in the playoffs in at least 5 years.
Well, and like we had this conversation last season too about, the coaching styles of certain coaches just being out of date, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of that generation, you have coaches like Bruce Boudreau, who is amazing and everybody loves, and John Tortorella, who is horrible for team morale and staff morale, right? Like, from what I remember reading, nobody liked working with him, under him in Philadelphia. So
No.
why, Vegas? Why? Like, what the fuck happened? What are you thinking? What did Cassidy do to deserve it?
Literally.
Because 11 seasons Cassidy was head coach, and 8, now you just kick him to the curb and you're third in your fucking division. What are you thinking?
He was there for since 2023, 2024?
Something.
And they've made the playoffs every year. Y'all won a Stanley Cup. Like, I don't know what else you need him to do, but I don't blame him for the reason that this team is underperforming compared to last season. I mean, the Pacific Division in itself is in fucking shambles. Let's not pretend that they're a good division, because they're not. I'm a fan of a Pacific Division team. In no world should we be a fucking playoff contender. But we are here. I just... Again, let us know in the comments.
Deserve there. Yeah.
Okay, but we can't beat dog shit teams without giving up 4 goals and having to win it overtime. So let's take the word deserve and let's slow that down a little bit, because they're bad.
So I did see apparently the reason, or the rumored reason, or the AI reason, whatever you want to go, because this is in the summary.
Whatever
section,
Google
right?
says.
Is the 6-1 loss streak and them falling to 3rd place. But still, it's not like you fell to 7th place in your division.
It does, it just doesn't make any fucking sense. And it would, if it were any other team, I think we wouldn't be as, like, flabbergasted.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Let us know in the comments what you guys think.
Yeah.
For sure.
Just why?
Why? Where's that? Why? Cue the meme of that one preacher being, why?
Why? Yeah. Why?
Well, rounding it out, we've got this segment and another one, but to get close to finishing up, we are about to hit our favorite segment of the week, the Obscure NHL Player of the Week. Hey! This week, we have a player by the name of Billy Coutu. As I mentioned last week, this man is very special. He was born March 1st, 1892 in North Bay, Ontario. Jesus. He played for the Montreal Canadiens, Hamilton Tigers, and Boston Bruins. This left-handed defenseman is the first and only player to ever be banned for life from the NHL. He is the only player ever to be banned for life in the NHL as a result of an attack on a referee in a 1927 Stanley Cup Finals game. In Game 4, he started a bench-clearing brawl at apparently the request of Coach Art Ross, which makes sense, by assaulting referee Jeffrey Laflamme and tackling referee Billy Bell in the corridor. As a result, he was expelled from the league for life.
Damn.
On October 8th, 1929, the suspension was lifted, allowing Coutu to play in the minor leagues, which he played into his late 30s in Minneapolis, coached for several years. But he never officially played in the NHL again. His NHL career was 244 games, 33 goals, 23 assists, 478 penalty minutes.
Damn. That's a lot of minutes in the box.
He passed away in February of 1977 at the age of 84.
But, good long life, though.
I would say that's a fucking crazy thing. And considering his suspension was lifted in 1929, He never played in the NHL again?
That's crazy. I wonder where he coached in Minneapolis.
I don't know. It didn't say. But yeah.
What was his name?
Billy Kutu? C-U or C-O-U-T-U. Not me trying to sound this shit out like it works.
It looks like Al Capone. Jesus.
That's crazy.
Nicknamed Wild Beaver.
That's an amazing nickname. Hashtag bring back the nickname Wild Beaver.
Just not for the PWHL.
Correct. Please no.
That is outlawed.
Before we jump into the trivia question, what do we have for some updates for injuries? Do we have any? We don't have any suspensions or fines currently.
No suspensions
Everyone's
or fines
behaving this
that
week.
have dropped
Yeah.
yet. You know, we all know they love to take their time dropping
And
that
show
info.
up. Watch it show up on Thursday.
3 weeks later. Yeah. But yeah, so quite a few injury updates here. As always, starting off with the Anaheim Ducks, we have Cutter Gauthier with an upper body injury expected to be out until April 3rd.
Fuck.
Jansen Harkins, upper body, listed as day-to-day.
Also, fuck.
Yeah. But at least those should be quick turnaround injury. You know,
Cutter went out last night in the Maple Leafs game. He should be back. Jansen has been kind of on and off. He should hopefully be back by the end of the week. There's nothing confirmed, but that's hopeful.
Well, and it's one of those things where, like, we're getting to that point of, like, how hard do we want them to push themselves to come back when you could potentially have a playoff spot, you know? And at least with Cutter, it's more like, nah, let him get some rest.
It could just be, he should be back on Friday. Hopefully.
Yeah. For Boston, we have Mason Lowry. Upper body expected to be out until Lowry's season salt. Now he's just season salt. But he's expected to be out until April 2nd. Did you thumbs down?
I just salt bait his ass.
I thought you did this. I was like, fuck you and your wrong opinions.
Hit him with the Salt Bay.
I got it. I wasn't fully looking because y'all know.
Open your fucking eyes, Danger. This is why we can't be alone.
I can't look at the cameras for too long during the segment or I start giggling. Okay.
This is why we can't be alone. This is why this doesn't happen.
We need an adult.
Yes.
Basically, we can't be left unattended. For Buffalo, we have Noah Ostlund, upper body expected to be out until April 2nd. Justin Danforth with a kneecap injury on IR, expected to be out until April 13th. That sucks balls. For Calgary, we have Connor Zary, upper body listed as day-to-day. Joel Hanley, upper body, out for the season. Samuel Zeke, whatever, upper body on IR, out for the season. Nobody new for Carolina. For Chicago, we have Matt Grzelczyk, whatever his name is. Upper body, out for the season. Artem Lyshenov, sure, hand injury, out for the season.
Oh, Lushevnov.
Oh, that one. Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Andrew Mangiapane. Angina pectoris. It's mixed to medical.
Fucking what?
I don't know. Upper body expected to be out until April 15th. Oliver Moore, lower body expected to be out until April 11th. For Colorado, we have Cale Makar, upper body listed as day-to-day, and Nicholas Hua, upper body expected to be out until April 7th. For Columbus, we have Matthew Olivier, upper body expected to be out until at least April 14th, which I think is tax day, or damn near it. Don't forget to pay your taxes, everybody.
Please pay your taxes.
Dmitry Vornakov, whatever, hand injury, expected to be out until April 11th. Damon Severson, upper body, expected to be out until April 7th. For Dallas, whole team can fall apart for all I care. We have Michael Bunting, lower body, expected to be out until April 15th. Nathan Bastian, hand injury, expected to be out until April 15th. Sam Steele, hip injury, expected to be out until April 15th. Tyler Myers, undisclosed. We haven't mentioned that in a while. I had to throw it in there. Expected to be out until April 2nd. Rope Hintz, lower body, expected to be out until April 13th. And Radek Faska.
Mm-hmm.
I see that and I think of FAFSA, like, you know, when you're doing student loan. Anyway, lower body on IR, expected to be out until April 15th. For Detroit, we have Michael Rasmussen, undisclosed. Expected to be out until April 2nd. For Edmonton, another team that could fall the fuck apart. Trent Frederick, undisclosed, expected to be out until April 2nd. For Florida, another team that I hope falls apart. Jesus, they already kind of are. Okay. Yona Godojevic, upper body on IR, out for the season. Sam Reinhart, foot injury, out for the season. Cole Schwint, lower body on IR, expected to be out until April 2nd. Brad Marchand, lower body on IR, out for the season. Alexander Barkov, knee injury, out for the season. Evan Rodriguez, finger injury, out for the season. Anton Lundell, ribs, out for the season. Uvis Blalinskis, foot injury, out for the season. Nico Mikola, knee injury, out for the season. There's some IRs in there. It doesn't matter.
You know all those by now.
For the season. Yeah, but those at least were updated since last Tuesday. For Los Angeles, we have Samuel Helenus. Oh,
Sure.
When I see the last 3 letters of that name, I just think of Uranus. So, yeah.
Fair enough.
Anyway, he is undisclosed, listed as day-to-day. For Montreal, Patrick Laine, abdominal injury or abdomen on IR, expected to be out until April 2nd. Nope, that's a lie. April 12th. Alexander Carrier, upper body, expected to be out until April 14th. Kirby Dock, upper body, expected to be out until April 14th. And Alexander Texier, whatever, lower body, listed as day-to-day. For New Jersey, we have Arseny Gritsyuk. Fucking turned into Goofy. Upper body, expected to be out until April 2nd. For the Islanders, we have Simon Holstrom, upper body, expected to be out until April 3rd. Tony D'Angelo, lower body, expected to be out until April 9th. For the Rangers, we have Jonathan Quick, upper body, listed as day-to-day. For Ottawa, we have Jake Sanderson, upper body, expected to be out until April 2nd. Thomas Chabot, forearm, also out for the season. Dennis Gilbert, upper body, expected to be out until April 15th. And Nick Jensen, with that knee injury, is on IR, out for the season. For Philadelphia, we have Mika Gribenkin. Sure, whatever. Nobody's here to tell me I said it wrong, so these are all pronounced correctly. Y'all can suck it. Nikita, is out with an upper body injury, expected to be out until April 2nd. For Pittsburgh, no new injuries. For San Jose, we have Ty Delandria, lower body on IR, expected to be out until April 2nd. John Klingberg, lower body, listed as day-to-day. For Seattle, we have Jaden Schwartz with a face injury, listed as day-to-day. Shane Wright, undisclosed, listed as day-to-day. Ryan Winterton, personal, expected to be out until April 4th. And just out of curiosity, because kind of in that stage, he's sick. He has a family matter. He missed the last 2 games due to an illness, and now he'll miss some more time due to a personal matter. Not sure when he'll be back. I just like to watch for if they're having babies. If their wives are putting in the real work and having babies or girlfriends or whatever. Anyway, St. Louis, we have Tyler Tucker with a lower body injury, expected to be out until April 5th. For Tampa Bay, we have Nikita Kucherov, illness, listed as day to day. Victor Hedman, personal, expected to be out until April 4th. For Toronto, nobody new. For Utah, we have Barrett Hayton, upper body, expected to be out until April 14th. Nobody new for Vancouver. For Las Vegas, we have Jonas Bjorg, lower body on IR, expected to be out until April 13th. Carter Hart, lower body on IR, expected to be out until April 11th.
Oh, wow. That one's so sad to see, huh?
Oh, yeah. Sad, just heartbroken. Also,
fuck that guy.
What team has nobody listed? My boys.
Good for you guys.
Moose is back.
You're healthy.
Hence wearing my Moose Crossing shirt. Anyway. For Washington, we have Alexei Protas, upper body, expected to be out until April 2nd. And lastly, for Winnipeg, we have Morgan Barron with a concussion. First concussion we've seen in a couple of weeks at least, but he is expected to be out until at least April 4th. And that's it for new ones.
Well, thank you so much for that. Well, to round this out, it is only you who gets bonus points today, which I feel like we should keep track of who has the most points for correct answers.
Give me the most.
Yeah, no, 100%. We're gonna cheat. Yeah.
Today, I have the most.
Today, you have the most power right now. But
That's right.
On March 11th, 1979, in a game between the LA Kings and the Philadelphia Flyers, Randy Holt set the NHL record for most penalty minutes in a single game. How many penalty minutes was it? Your options: 57, 67, 75, 48.
It's a complete guess, but I said I wanted 69 to be on the list earlier. 67 is on the list. 67.
Stop that.
I do it just to embarrass my child.
Stop that.
67.
So
yeah, I'll go with 67.
The real question is, how many times do you guess? Because it feels like every week, right? You guess? Well,
roughly, yeah.
Randy Holt had 1 minor, 3 majors, and 2 game misconducts. I'm sorry, 2 10-minute misconducts, and 3 game misconducts, which turns to 67 minutes in 1 game. Yeah, 1 2-minute minor, 3 5-minute majors, 2 10-minute misconducts, and 3 game misconducts.
That is insane.
Well,
so he played 10 minutes of that game?
Barely, maybe.
Like, roughly?
67 penalty minutes. But if you had guessed 57, you would have been close, because that is second. That is second. 2 different players did that. Brad Smith for the Toronto Maple Leafs against Detroit Red Wings in November of 1986, and Reed Lowe of the St. Louis Blues against the Calgary Flames in February of 2002.
Okay.
But
wow.
There is a hint for next week's trivia question in this. So make sure you got your thinking caps on of what it possibly could be. But that, my friends, is all we have for you. Thank you so much for being here, as always. Listen, shout out to Danger and I, who, listen, cheers to you, my dear. If we've done this before, it's been way too fucking long. If
right.
you have not, make sure you like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. It lets you know anytime we upload anything new. In the comments down below, we want to hear your thoughts about the Treliving firing. Want to hear your thoughts about the Bruce Cassidy firing. Also, it's been 4 years. What's my fucking favorite color? Like, none of you have guessed it. I don't even think Danger knows what my favorite color is at this point.
I don't.
That's even crazier.
But I will continue to guess plaid.
I tried to tell
Till the
her
end of time.
once, and she screamed at me because she said she didn't want to know.
I don't remember that.
You
Therefore,
were
it
like,
didn't happen.
"Oh, there's a hint. It's always in my camera view every week." So think about that. I hope y'all enjoyed. As for the rest of the crew, as I like to say, peace, love, puss suitor. And until we see y'all motherfuckers again, we'll see you next week in the Face Off Circle.